she had been stabbed to death 114 times.
What my problem?
He was the last one seen with her. So right now, it's facing you right now, son.
Sometimes he would take his knife and pretend to stab me with it.
My daughter is missing.
She was last seen around 1:15 that morning at the Durban Amenity Center.
They don't have no evidence to lie and look at it.
Everything you say will affect you.
Find your story, stay to it.
Mother's Day, May 9th, 2021. Parents of 5, Forrest and Stacey Bailey, decide to wait a couple of minutes for their 13-year-old daughter, Tristyn, to come downstairs and join them for a special Mother's Day breakfast. 5 minutes go by, no sign of Tristyn. 30 minutes, still nothing. After an hour of waiting, they decide to go wake her. They open her bedroom door. She's gone. Panic sets in. They call 911 to report that their daughter is missing.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
My daughter is missing. We woke up and the front door's wide open and we can't find...
News of the disappearance spread fast.
Tristyn Bailey was reported missing from her home outside Jacksonville on Mother's Day.
She was last seen around 1:15 that morning at the Durban Amenity Center.
The missing poster declared she was wearing a white cheerleading skirt and dark-colored shirt.
Posts on social media, search and rescue helicopters, and many neighbors lending a helping hand the best they could.
And the St. Johns County dive team continues to search ponds in the area.
Just behind me is the lake that has been searched this morning by the St. Johns County dive team.
Hours begin to pass with no sign of Tristyn, until they find her.
All right, Mr. Hart, can you tell me what's going on today?
So I heard there was a missing girl. People have been looking for it. The sheriffs have been around, helicopters flying. And I just went for a run, and my wife had mentioned maybe checking into the woods over here along the end of the cul-de-sac and at the pond in the end of the property next to us. So I finished my run, and I went back in there, walked around, and I was about to go back out of the pond and through the woods back to another retention pond behind our house. Just to walk through the woods back toward our house, kind of just a last sweep. And when I came out of the fence at the southern end of the pond, I probably 3 or 4 feet in, and I saw a dead girl there.
Her hair was matted red with blood, and she had multiple sharp force injury wounds on her hands, arms, and neck. There were countless holes in the back of her shirt, evidence of what appeared to be multiple sharp force trauma injuries. Nearby crime scene technicians would find a gold-toned ring, a cell phone later identified as Tristyn's, a $20 bill, and a pink vape pen. After an autopsy was performed, it was discovered that she had been stabbed and slashed 114 times, almost half of which had been defensive wounds. A terrible death.
Her body was discovered
in a secluded wooded area.
She had been stabbed to death
114 times.
This was a shocking murder. Why would anyone want to take the innocent life of a 7th grader? But as you'll soon discover, the most shocking part of it all is that it was all caught on video, and the main suspect was closer than anyone thought. The following is real audio and video, along with detailed analysis based on qualified expert testimony. By studying the techniques of law enforcement and analyzing the mental health of killers, we hope to gain insight into how they are made and how they can be caught. At this point, the police have found Tristyn's body, but have no real leads on the culprit who committed this murder. They go to Tristyn's house and interview her sister Sophia, who, luckily for them, remembers a mysterious phone call that will soon become their first lead.
Okay. All right. So today is May 9th, 2021, and the time is 4:33 p.m. And I'm Detective Peluso with the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office. And I'm interviewing, if you don't mind stating your name for me.
Sophia Bailey.
And Sophia, how old are you?
15.
15. All right, and I'm assuming you live here at this home, right? All right. What grade are you in?
10th.
10th grade? Nice. Okay. So your sister is Tristyn, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously we're here because your sister's went missing, and we're trying to figure out where she could be at. And I just want to ask you some questions about like the last time you had maybe seen her, or what's been going on with her, or anything like that. From your knowledge, when was the last time you saw or talked to your sister?
It was sometime after 12, so I think it was probably around 12, 15.
Okay. And what was going on around then?
She came downstairs, she talked about something that I can't remember,
Okay.
And then she went out to the garage to take the call. And then when I went to see what she was doing, she was on FaceTime with a boy.
Okay.
And he was wearing like a white cap and had the blue lip lights on. And I think it was Trey.
You think it was, okay. So he was probably like around her age or y'all's age or so? Okay. So was he a white guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
He had a white cap on backwards.
Okay. Could you see what kind of shirt he was wearing?
I don't remember.
Okay. And you said you think it was Trey?
Yeah, Trey or Trent.
Okay. Did you hear what they were talking about?
No, she pretty much hung out back there, I saw.
How was like her behavior? Was she acting a little weird when you walked in or what?
She was acting like pretty normal to how she normally acts, I think.
Okay.
Earlier, like when I was first started watching my movie, though, she did ask me when I was going to bed.
Okay.
In order to find Tristyn, the detectives must determine where she was last seen and who she was with. Her parents said that she was at home with them the previous night. When detectives speak to her older sister, 15-year-old Sophia, they'll learn of a mysterious phone call that will soon become their first lead. Sophia says the last time she saw Tristyn was around 12:15 a.m. when she walked in on her FaceTiming a boy in the garage. This friend was most likely Dofus Tree Absher III. This was a mutual friend of Tristyn's. She immediately hung up once Sophia saw her, but did not seem to be acting strange. However, it's possible that Tristyn asked her what time she was going to bed earlier because she was planning on sneaking out. It would be the last time anyone in the family saw her alive.
So after she asked you when you were going to go to bed, what time was that at?
That was probably just around 12.
Okay. So what happened after that?
After I saw her on the phone, I went back and I sat back on the couch and watched my movie some, but then I went into the garage to take care of my chickens, and then after that I didn't see her.
Okay. Did you just assume she just went upstairs or?
Yeah, I thought she just went upstairs.
Now what was she wearing when she went upstairs?
I believe that she was wearing a white shirt and some like dark shorts, little track shorts.
Okay. Now have you tried calling her or texting her or anything like that? Have had any luck?
Yeah, I've called her a few times, but it just goes straight to voicemail.
Okay. Has this ever happened with her before that you're aware of?
No.
No? You've never heard of her sneaking out until today or? No? Okay. Do you know if she's currently like dating anybody or?
I know that she's talked to a lot of guys that like she'll tell us about, but she's not dating anyone that I know.
Okay. Has she told you if she's been doing anything that would get her in trouble? No?
Neither of Tristyn's parents had any knowledge of her ever sneaking out before, but doesn't mean it didn't happen. While it seemed to be true that she didn't have a boyfriend, it's troubling that a 7th grade girl was sneaking out of the house to hang out with anyone without her parents' knowledge or consent. Now that they know Tristyn had been talking to Trey, detectives immediately go to question him, who tell them that Tristyn arrived at his house at 12:30 a.m. and stayed for half an hour before leaving. But Trey adds that he wasn't alone when he left. He says he left with someone named Aiden Fucci, that is. With another lead, detectives now go to Aiden's mother, Crystal Smith's house to question him on what exactly happened next.
Hey, are you Aiden?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, I'm Detective Police Officer here at the Sheriff's Office. We're trying to figure out where Tristyn's at, and I'm not trying to get you in trouble or anything like that. Obviously, I'm more concerned right now about her safety and what she's doing and where she could be hanging out.
Yes, ma'am.
You're telling him that there may be another path that he's maybe staying at?
Or she's
staying at?
The detective tells Aiden that she's not trying to get him in trouble, and that she's more concerned with making sure Tristyn is found safe. While she may or may not suspect him of being involved in the crime, this is an attempt to put Aiden at ease, as he is most likely on edge.
What's the path?
There's like a trail that goes super deep down there.
Down into the woods?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have you heard from her at all? No? Okay.
Aiden mentions a path in the woods that he thinks Tristyn could have gone down. Police will later search this path and find nothing. This most likely was an attempt to throw police off his trail and waste their time. This shows signs of premeditation, something that will be at odds with the signs of mental illness he will exhibit as the case goes on.
All right. So, are you willing to kind of give me a statement about what's going on with her?
Yeah, so we're at Trey's house, and then I stayed there until probably like 1:50 a.m. And then I was really late to be home, so I just had to leave, or else my mom would like seriously just kill me.
Okay.
So we started walking home, and then next to like where that brick wall starts up there,
Okay.
is where like she touched my and I like pushed her off of me real hard, and then I just kind of like walked away out of anger.
If it wasn't clear, Aiden claims that as they were walking, Tristyn sexually assaulted him and shoved her, causing her to fall down. He's possibly setting up a self-defense argument, although the story is so ludicrous, it's difficult to decipher what his true motivations are. He tells the detective that the path Tristyn went down was somewhere kids went to do drugs. She thanks him for his help, but by her tone, it's unclear if she believes his story or not. As his timeline doesn't exactly add up, Aiden will be read his rights, which he invoked and declined to provide any further statements as his parents requested a lawyer. With Aiden in custody, police would discover something on residential security camera footage that would put his already flimsy story even more into question. It was footage of Tristyn and Aiden walking east down Saddlestone Drive, not far from where her body would eventually be found. But less than 2 hours later, the very same camera would capture video of what appeared to be Aiden running back alone and curiously carrying his shoes. He returned to his home where he would be picked up by police over 14 hours later, when Tristyn's body was found less than half a mile away.
Having fun in a cop car.
Yep. Tristyn.
What's up, guys?
Yep.
Tristyn, if you walk out the damn, it's in a cop car, guys.
As you just saw, Aiden decided to live stream on Snapchat in the back of a police car with a chillin' caption. These same posts would immediately be seen by police. With police searching Aiden and his mother Crystal's house, his parents, including father Jason Fucci, sit with him in a holding cell. However, an unexpected suspect would soon enter the story, none other than his own mother, Crystal.
She's dead.
Really, my problem.
They're searching her house, right?
She had no space with her. So your DNA's gonna be on her.
What's this place?
It's a holding room. It's a holding room.
Thank you.
Can I sit down?
Immediately, we see a striking difference in the way Aiden relates to both parents. With his father, he's smug and curt, but as soon as he sees his mother walk in the door, his demeanor changes.
Well, they asked like what color's my hair and what color my eyes and all that. That's all I am. And then where we lived.
You know they found this girl, right?
Where?
In our neighborhood. Down our main street.
Is she good?
No, she's dead. That's why this is very important. It's all on you right now.
What's my problem?
Notice how Aiden's breathing begins to increase and the rapid blinking, which gives way to a downward look, which could be signs of guilt, worry, and fear. Perhaps he believes that if his mother sees his eyes, she'll know more than anyone that he's lying. As you can tell by the look on her face, she's already suspicious or already knows and very unhappy. She's about to let her son know just exactly why.
You were the last one seen with her. So right now, it's facing you right now, son. So however you talk, you breathe, you think, then you respond.
This is very serious, Aiden. You can't act like I don't know. I don't know. You can't, and you can't
You
say
understand
nothing
this
that's
is
gonna mess
serious? Clearly. You understand, right?
you up. Everything you say will affect you.
That Snapchat that you did was not very smart.
Not good
either.
at all. Now we have people wanting to burn our house down and our cars down because of that Snapchat thing you did.
Notice that neither of Aiden's parents have asked him if he was involved. In fact, it's clear that they are willing to encourage him to stay quiet. Crystal tells him not to say anything that will mess him up before scolding him for posting the Snapchat video. She seems more upset that he posted incriminating evidence online and that her family is now being threatened because of it than the grisly crime her son is accused of committing. Meanwhile, his father Jason is trying to tell him to watch what he says to the police, that anything could be used against him, so to speak. Jason Fucci would know this well, as he has plenty of experience being in rooms just like this. In 2003, Jason was arrested and would later have to serve over a year in prison for charges including child abuse, injury, and neglect. Later, he was given 2 years probation for engaging in sexual activity with a minor and arrested for battery in 2016 for a fight at a gas station with his wife.
It is on social media. You'll probably come stay with me after we get done with this. Just for your well, safe being.
So you can think that in his years of experience with the system, Jason would understand that there was no way his son was coming home that day. It's possible he's in denial of the severity of the situation himself, or that he and his son share the same narcissistic tendencies that have landed them both in serious trouble. Even though both parents are subtly encouraging Aiden to keep his mouth shut, they clearly love their son and are deeply affected by the position he's put them in. As they both wipe away tears, notice the juxtaposition to Aiden, sitting stone-faced and emotionless on the chair, as if he was bored in geometry class.
You have no scrapes or nothing on you, right?
No, sir.
Jason asks another unusual question. If Aiden did have scrapes, it would be another sign of his potential guilt. It's clear by now that he's trying to help his son get away with murder.
You sure don't smell?
I don't grab it. I don't want to sit. I can hit her so bad.
As Aiden watches his parents break down over the situation he's caused, he sits staring at them on the floor, his foot tapping nervously in silence. In criminal psychology, observing a suspect's fidgeting and tapping behavior during an interrogation can provide valuable insights into their mental and emotional state. It's clear the family doesn't know what to do at this point. Aiden has put them in an impossible position.
Did you tell me anything different in the cop car that we don't know about? No. Do you know if this girl got picked up?
I told him about her dealer.
Aiden volunteers the best theory he can now come up with, that Tristyn went to meet her drug dealer and never returned. Although True reportedly told his father that Tristyn was going to hang out with a 22-year-old drug dealer named Carlo. No other facts about this have been made available.
You think she got picked up by him?
Probably. She said she wasn't coming home. She said she's gonna find somebody to stay at
After
their
you left her
house.
there walking? Like, you think she got picked up after that? She just kept walking?
Probably. I don't know.
Do you know if she turned the other direction or if she was just still walking behind you?
She pushed her down and then you walked away. We shouldn't be talking.
I was just asking what he told the cops. I didn't say anything. I was just asking what he told them.
You walked away. You came straight home. You didn't turn back around and see where she went?
Notice the rigidness of Aiden's arm and the repetitive motions of his hand and knee. These are signs of restless energy and nervousness. And now that police have found a body and the evidence is piling up, it is well justified.
What were you doing outside late at night?
I was at Trey's house hanging out with them.
Did you kiss or do anything with this girl?
Be honest as you can to them.
I kissed her.
Anything further?
Yeah.
So your DNA is going to be on her?
While Jason's line of question seems unusual at first, he soon explains his reasoning. He's concerned that his son's DNA may be on Tristyn, further evidence to be used against him.
We saw your shoes were off on the camera. All your shoes off.
Because my feet were hurting. And the shoes give me blisters.
Did you come home and then leave again?
Mm-hmm.
Did you sneak back out or you're still at Trey's house the whole day?
I was at Trey's house.
Okay. It's just the one night I didn't ask where you were, so I was wondering. This is serious, Aiden.
It's very serious.
This is no joke. This is your whole life. Your whole life.
And ours.
And ours. And your brothers and sister. Enough for they can't go to school tomorrow.
Why?
Because the kids will hurt them.
Notice that there was no mention of any other lives destroyed by this other than their own, such as, for instance, Tristyn and the Bailey family. This lack of empathy for the victims is shocking enough coming from Aiden, but when seen from both parents as well, it makes one wonder how many of his antisocial personality traits are genetic.
They're gonna keep him here, right?
I don't know. They don't have no evidence that I know of yet.
When Jason asks if there's any evidence, there's a brief and knowing look shared between mother and son.
Unless you know any other thing I don't know. Did y'all have sex?
Did she really grab you and you just really pushed her, or was that?
No, she did.
Okay.
As Aiden answers this, he looks down. Avoiding eye contact is a sign of deception.
You don't know what happened to her after you pushed her?
Did she say ow or get mad?
She said Aiden. She was like, Aiden? I think I pushed her, but I just told her to F off. And I just walked off.
Do you know what direction she walked it?
Probably the other way, because she wasn't next to me anymore.
You didn't look back or nothing?
Nothing to worry about, right?
They're searching our house right now.
Why were you down? Were you wet when you got home?
A little bit, yeah.
From what?
Water.
What water?
Water from her cup.
Her cup?
No, water from a cup. A drink.
You spilled on yourself? Why?
And then they fell off my home.
While it's possible that Aiden could have spilled a drink on himself, his absolute inability to explain how is clearly suspect. Aiden's mother has been standing this entire time, either crossing her arms on her chest or putting them behind her back or on her hips. It's almost as if she's attempting to take up space in the room and appear dominant. It's a role she's possibly used to playing at home. She seems as if she wants to scream at her son for what he's done, but is aware the cameras are rolling. These could also be interpreted as nervous gestures, which Jason, too, by his long, exasperated sighs, is clearly experiencing. All seemingly much more so than their son, who besides his nervous tapping, has still shown nearly no emotion about any of this.
What a nightmare.
I just hope I keep waking up.
Me too.
You would think that if Aiden were innocent, he too would agree that this was a nightmare that he wished he could wake up from, yet he remains silent.
We're gonna go home and get your clothes.
What clothes?
The clothes you're wearing.
You?
There'd be nothing on those clothes, right?
This one.
Notice that when Aiden was told earlier that police were searching his house, he didn't appear to have a reaction. But now that his clothes have been mentioned by his mother, it's gotten his attention. Crystal says that she's going to go home to retrieve them, and when Jason asks him a leading question, asking him to confirm that there's no evidence on them, she appears nervous.
You want khakis or blue jeans?
And blue jeans.
You sure it's not one of
Those two. No.
Crystal asks Aiden in a very knowing way if he's sure there's nothing on his jeans, and his response is very telling. Instead of a simple no, Aiden says, "I don't think so, why?" All but admitting his guilt. This elicits a disapproving facial expression from Crystal, which baffles Aiden. He's clearly not catching on to the fact that he's incriminating himself. His mother appears to whisper something to him, which finally gets a reaction. Court documents would later show that the word she whispered was blood. Crystal tells Aiden that he appeared to be wearing khakis on the camera footage instead of jeans, a lie on what the court would eventually find as an attempt at evidence tampering. When asking him to confirm whether she's right, it seems more of a demand than a question, and the boy doesn't hesitate to please his mother.
Did you see this 20-year-old kid? You didn't get in his car?
I never even saw him before. I just heard about him.
That night?
Yeah.
You just heard about him that night?
Oh, no, I've heard about him many times.
Do you have the black car?
I don't know.
Are you not scared?
Really?
Not really?
I'm a little scared, but...
If he didn't do nothing, he had to be worried about.
I know, it's all awesome.
He didn't do nothing right.
That's it.
It's a hell of a bad time, bad spot.
If Crystal was unsure of her son's guilt, asking him if he wasn't scared would be an unusual question. Perhaps she could claim fear for the potential of a false conviction, but it still shows a level of perceived guilt.
Leaving a 13-year-old girl by herself in the middle of the streets at 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever time is not smart, bro. Walking home with her in the middle of the night, that wasn't smart either. You stay away from females. Did you kiss her this night? This last night?
Right, Trey's house?
As Jason tells his son he should stay away from females, Crystal sways and shakes her head. She knows what Aiden has done, even if her ex-husband isn't ready to admit it.
On the walk? I still see why you kissed her, and then all of a sudden she grabbed you and then you pushed her.
You better find your story and stay to it.
That was, I don't like all that switching back and forth stuff.
Think about every question he's going to ask you. Before you answer it, you think about the answer again.
Try to make it rough on him. Ask him the same question to make sure he gives him the same answer. I'm gonna badger you and badger you and badger you and badger you till your answer changes. Or even goes off a little bit.
At this point, there's no question that Crystal believes her son is guilty. She tells him that she doesn't like him changing his story, and that even if he does a little, it will be used against him. This means that she's assuming Aiden will change his story, which means she believes he has reason to lie.
Hopefully you don't have to worry about him.
As Aiden contemplates his mother's advice, it seems a quiet calm has overtaken him. Yet instead of answering her statement with words, his foot gives one final nonverbal cue to his internal state. He has a lot to worry about, and he knows it.
Drawers of the dresser inside the closet, specifically the left drawer that has photo marker number 2.
And what was located in that drawer?
That was a black Buck brand sheath that was empty inside of that drawer.
And then for M's, it's just a close-up of that sheath that was found?
Yes.
And was that collected and placed in evidence?
It was.
And what of particular interest was located in this area?
It was one pair of white Nike brand high-top athletic shoes with possible blood.
I'm going to go to 4P.
Okay.
Are those the shoes that you referred to?
Yes.
And were they removed from that location?
Yes.
All right, and then going to states 4Q and R, what are?
Those are just overalls of the shoes.
And you indicated that there was substance found on these shoes?
After searching the retention pond near where Tristyn's body was found, police would find a folding button knife with half of the blade missing. The other half would be found embedded in Tristyn's skull. During a search of Aiden's room, the sheath to this knife would be found. Also found Aiden's Nike shoes still wet with blood. Aiden's own girlfriend would soon confirm his enthusiasm for knives, his troubles at home, and his disturbing state of mind in the weeks and months leading up to Tristyn's murder.
Did it look like this?
Yeah.
Did it look like it, or is that the same type of knife?
That's the same knife.
Okay. So you've seen him carry a knife like that?
Yeah.
Pretty commonly?
Yeah, it was mainly those two. He would tell me his mom would tell him he was a disappointment to her family.
Have you ever seen Aiden get violent with anybody?
Yes.
Who?
There was a incident where we went to the South Amenity Center for, I guess he was gonna get a vape from this kid, and instead of buying it from him, he just took it, and then the kid tried to hit him, so he hit him back.
Okay. Did Aiden ever discuss anything to you that would make you think he wanted to try to use a knife on somebody or anything like that?
Aiden talked about killing people a lot.
He did?
Yeah. But Aiden and I had a dark sense of humor, and I never took him seriously.
Right.
He talked about wanting to kill me. Sometimes he would take his knife and pretend to stab me with it. Or sometimes he would come up behind me, put it against my throat and pretend to slit my throat. But I wasn't scared or anything.
You trusted him?
Yeah.
She was on to explain Aiden's anger issues and his violent inclinations, including his violent drawings, a recent incident at a food truck, and even putting knives to her throat under the guise of good humor. But most shocking of all was her reveal that Aiden had been planning on killing someone for months and had even outlined his plan to her in grim detail.
I want you to kind of go into detail about what he said he would do when he planned this.
He said that he would just walk at night or something and find a random person walking to and just drag them in the woods and stab them.
Okay.
He said that he thinks it's gonna happen soon. He said I should expect it within the month.
And when was that he said this?
I think this month.
So let me tell you what you are charged with. You have been indicted by the St. Johns County Grand Jury on the charge of first-degree premeditated murder. That is a capital felony that is normally punishable by up to death or life imprisonment. In your case, because you are not yet 18 years old, death is not a possible sentence pursuant to the Florida and United States Supreme Courts, but this charge does carry a maximum penalty of life imprisonment.
Aiden Fucci was charged with first-degree murder and held without bond. Less than a month later, his mother, Crystal, was arrested and charged with tampering with evidence. She was caught on her own security cameras going into Aiden's room and attempting to wash out his jeans, which along with the sink would test positive for Tristyn's blood.
I don't let you things take my soul. You things will take my soul away. I don't let you things steal my soul. I don't know what's going on. I've seen what's going on?
While inside jail, Aiden claimed he heard voices leading up to the murder. However, he also bragged to fellow inmates about the killing. If it was an attempt at an insanity defense, it failed.
This court has reviewed and seen more than its fair share of autopsy photos. The autopsy photos in this particular case were particularly difficult. The 49 defensive wounds indicate that Tristyn Bailey was conscious, that she was aware, and that she was doing everything she could to fend off this attack. She suffered a painful, horrifying death from someone that she trusted. Her screams were most likely stifled by her own suffocating lungs. This court finds that the defendant's participation in this offense was not the result of immaturity or impetuosity. He understood the risks and consequences of his actions. He previously told his girlfriend that he was going to do this. That clearly shows that he had been planning it. He attempted to cover it up by disposing of the murder weapon and throwing it into a lake. He then attempted to conceal evidence by hiding his shoes and shirt and jeans, taking a shower, stealthily entering his home, and then the actions immediately after with the Snapchat videos in the back of the police car and the story that he made up about pushing her and her hitting her head, which was clearly refuted by the video evidence in this case. All of that shows, and this court finds, that this was not an immature or an impetuous type of crime. It was done for no other reason than to satisfy this defendant's internal desire to feel what it was like to kill someone, that there is only one appropriate sentence in this case. Mr. Fucci, if you and your attorneys would please rise. Counsel, is there any legal reason why this court cannot impose sentence at this time?
No, sir.
Mr. Fucci, having entered a plea of guilty to the crime of first-degree murder, I adjudicate you guilty of the premeditated first-degree murder of Tristyn Bailey. I sentence you to life in prison. Because of your age, you are eligible for review of the sentence in 25 years.
After changing his plea to guilty, Aiden Fucci was sentenced to life in prison at the Suwannee Correctional Institute, the maximum sentence given his age at the time of the crime. Under Florida law, his sentence can be reviewed after 25 years. At his sentencing, the judge admonished him for the brutality of his crime. 1 month later, Crystal Smith was found guilty of tampering with evidence and was sentenced to 30 days in jail. In a video made several years ago for her cheerleading team, Tristyn Bailey said, "That's my squad. You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us because we're family." This quote was used as the backdrop for her memorial service, which was attended by thousands and where she was remembered as someone who brought light to everyone around her. Her father, flanked by his wife and remaining 4 children, remarked, "Our love is greater than the evil that can exist in the world."